Two things are gonna happen. You're gonna take the PI you already have and make even more ISK out of it using the steps I'm gonna show you. And second, you're gonna be able to find cracks in the market that people that don't watch this video will not be able to find, and you are gonna capitalize on it. So if you want the best EVE guides, you came to the right place. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. Loru here, digital advertiser, content creator, and EVE enjoyer. The better part of 10 years now, and I love how the Torrent looks in the light of Triglav. Yes, we are in Pochfin. We're gonna talk about it. Dangerous areas of space. And what I've been doing recently to great success is I've been cranking out P2s on a bunch of planets across my mains and my alts, and I haven't been selling these P2s. I've been taking them and turning them into P3s. I do these on dedicated characters built for crafting that have all 6 planets set up like this. By the end of this video, you're going to be able to see how to make a profit in EVE by doing no gathering whatsoever, just crafting. Here's where to start. You're going to have a barren planet. That's number 1. Barren planets are actually much smaller than the gas planets, and how PI works, the bigger the planet, the more space in between all these nodes, thus the more power grid, blah, 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 resources that it takes to set up things on the planet. So we've got 11 crafters per side here, each side making its own P3. On the top, we are making Okami superconductors, and on the bottom, I'm making gel matrix biopaste. And here's your first tip for you. I don't just make one P3. I'm making between 5 and 6 depending on the day, but I don't like to put all my eggs in one basket. I'm gonna at least make 2 different types of P3s to diversify what I'm selling in the market and be able to maximize the profit where I can. So what you're gonna do is get a bunch of items in the customs office of your crafting planet. Now we've got that set up here, and you wanna take these inputs and drag them over to the appropriate launch pad. I typically make the gel matrix biopaste on this side and make the superconductors on this side. So we get the GW5FN launch pad. We come back out here, we want to 5FN. Now we want to drag in the appropriate P2s into our crafting planet's launch pad. Okami superconductors take superconductors and synthetic oil. Now for the sake of this example, I'm just going to drive over 5K and 5K of each, press transfer, and you're going to notice that this number went down immediately. We actually have routes set up in the launch pad to immediately route those items into our crafters. The moment you put those in the launch pad, though, you're not done. We have these storage containers in the center, and what you're going to do is highlight these, press expedited transfer, and then click on the storage container itself. This will bring up the expedited transfer window. We're going to move these over here, press execute transfer, and you can see they're no longer in the launch pad, they're now in the storage container. Now, if I was going at max capacity, I would take another set of superconductors and another set of synthetic oil, throw it into the launch pad, and let it sit there. Thus, we have a semi-full storage facility and a launch pad. I'm going to put the rest of the items in here for the gel matrix biopaste, and I'll be right back. All right, we've got the setup done as much as I can right now with the crafting mats I have on hand, and we need to talk about overflowing items. The only real way to lose money doing PI is overflowing the various storage containers. If one of these gets full, it'll turn red around the circle, and any item that tries to go through it will actually just get deleted. The game won't tell you, it won't notify you, it'll just delete the various items. This will happen every single cycle. It's really important that you watch the numbers and make sure that none of these are going to get overflowed. Now, you are going to have to do some math involved here, and you're going to have to do it yourself, of course. I'm just kidding, I did the math for you, baby. Now, there's typically 2 types of P3s. Ones that take 2 inputs and other ones that take 3 inputs. Our bottom section here is going to take 3, and our top section here is going to take 2 inputs. Let's start with the one that has 2 inputs. That's the Okami superconductors. Now, one Okami superconductor weighs 3 M3. A single cycle is going to output 3 units. That means you're going to get 9 units every single cycle. But the inputs in order to get these weigh 15 M3. This means that you're going to have about a 66% difference between the inputs and the output. So typically what this means for me is I don't want more than 15,000 inputs in my storage container or launch pad, just to be sure. So what I'll do just to be safe is I'll put about 10K worth in my storage bin, and I'll get about 15K worth in my launch pad. Total of 15K, easy peasy. I will not overflow. Now, if you fill up your storage bin and your launch pad like I've been showing you, it's going to take about 4 days to get all this done cooking. That's not bad. I think my penmanship is improving. In that 4 days, I'm going to have made 512 million ISK. Every 4 days, in perpetuity, on every planet that's doing this, per character. That's 3.8 billion ISK a month, every month, on just one planet. Y'all, listen, I'm giving you the playbook to have a literal ISK faucet that you can make at scale. So like the video, subscribe, get on in, share with your friends, give them the most value. And super fast if you have P3s that take 3 inputs like the Gel Matrix Biopaste. I've done the math for you as well. The inputs are going to be 22.5 M3 in order to craft, and the output is still 9 M3. So much less than half the weight on the outputs. So in order to do this, you're going to have a launch pad and a storage container that are about 24.5K M3 to continue that 4-day cycle. Now typically what I'll do with this is I'll put about 11K in the storage container and about 9K in the launch pad. You're cutting it close. You're coming to the top of both the launch pad and the storage facility. That will take you about 3 1/3 days to cook. You're going to have a little bit left over in your launch pad that you have to go into space to mess with. At this point, you're a PI expert. You'll be able to do that. Basically, after 3.5 days, you're going to come back and mess with this for your 3 input cooks. Now, the bottom section gets me about 1 billion ISK every 4 days. Oh my God, dude, come on. That means with both of these running at scale, always on, I am making 1.6 billion ISK per planet every 4 days. Would you like a Marauder every 4 days? Cause I can afford one. Now, in order to transport all this, you're gonna need some heavy tank. Yes, we've talked about the Torrent and the Deluge in my past videos, and they both continue to be the backbone of my PI industry. And if you want one, here's how to get one. Let's call it 3 to be safe. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, let's do a giveaway for 3 Torrents, just the hull. You'll have to fit it yourself. These are some of my favorite ships right now, and I gladly give some of them to you. So 3 of you will get one of these ships. And in order to win, you have to do these 3 things. First, you have to be subscribed to this channel. My bot's gonna know if you're not subbed, then you'll be disqualified. Go for 300 million ISK right now. Don't miss out. The second thing you have to do is go into the comments and type, I want that Torrent, in that same comment. The third thing you're gonna do is put your in-game name. I gotta know who the heck to send the contract to. You've watched other of our videos. You know the drill now. Come on. Thanks very much, y'all. Go do that and you won't miss out on this giveaway. And speaking of the Torrent, here's the fit for you. Now, we've featured this in other videos, so this shouldn't be any kind of surprise. But super quick, how we've built this is to have the most toolbox possible to be able to do PI in dangerous areas of space. As you know, Wormhole Space, Null, and Pochfin all have the maximum PI. So in one of those areas, I recommend flying Deluge and Torrents exclusively. Do not be the guy that flies an Epithal in this areas of space. My Corp hunts people like you. So to go over the super fast, what you're going to start out with is a solid 130K EHP. But wait, I'm not done. If you overheat this, we go up to 171K EHP. It's a behemoth, dude. Oh my God, I love this ship. It's so fantastic. This is because we are rocking a medium shield extender and then 2 medium core field defense extenders in the rigs, along with a single large shield extender. I couldn't find a way to fit 2 larges. That alone puts your buffer up way high. Then we are going to run 2 multi-spectrums just to make sure we get our resistances up. We are going to run a single medium micro jump drive. This will blip you forward 100 km. We typically use this to counter bubbles. Sometimes the bubble ships do not scram you. If they do try to scram you, we do have a warp core stab. Now remember, the Torrent gets an innate +2 to warp core strength. So your warp core stab means you're actually a +4 strength. That's pretty awesome. Damage control is to give you some more resists. The power diagnostic is actually necessary to be able to run all this stuff. And it also increases your shield. You can see it gives us about 5K more EHP. Yeah, looks like about just 5K. The other fun one is the interdiction nullifier in the highs. This is again to counter bubbles. We have a single small NOS on there. It's basically just there because there was nothing else to put. It's a free slot. Choose what you want. The most fun thing on this entire fit though is the afterburner. You're not doing this to go fast on grid. You're doing it because you have an align time of 19 seconds. You've seen us talk about this before. Because our afterburner scale is high enough, it takes the activation time down to sub 8 seconds. So if you one pulse the afterburner, that's turn it on, turn it off in succession. After you've aligned, you'll be able to instantly warp off the moment that this 8 seconds is done, turning your align time of almost 20 seconds down to sub 8 seconds. That's pretty freaking fantastic. The afterburner is necessary. I understand we can't cloak trick with the afterburner. I like the better align time instead. As always, mold your ship to the meta of your area. This fit will be easy to copy and paste for you. The link is in the description. It's totally free, takes 2 clicks. Enjoy, y'all. I try to make things as easy as possible for y'all. But we're not done. I still have to answer that profitability question I told you about at the start of this video. Now, flashbang warning, Adam for Eve does not have a dark mode. I'm begging you, Mr. Adam for Eve, please add a dark mode. I want to stop losing my eyesight whenever whenever I come to your site. Now, the entire site is really awesome for indie, but we're going to focus on PI and go down to the chain chart. And this is where we get to do a little bit of hunting. Yes, we're going to be able to see what's profitable and where by using the drop downs here. Let me show you. We were talking about Ukami superconductors earlier. So we set this up. I choose superconductors. I say we're selling to buy orders and I press show me. We're going to come down here and we see this whole thing populated. We're going to talk about it. We could talk about as many spreadsheet and space memes as you would like. This is where the money is made, ladies and gentlemen. The final thing we're going to do is come up here and set our market tax to 4%. I don't have customs tax where I am. Thank you very much. The entire point of this tool is to show you the entire chain of PI and be able to answer two questions. Is what you're crafting more profitable than what made it? And if you bought all the crafting materials instead of gathered them, are you going to be able to keep making money still? Yes, it is possible to make money if you have 0 gathering planets and nothing but crafters. I'm talking about this, y'all. I have entire characters that are just 6 gatherers. Yes, all the way down, they gather 0 items. They are there for me to pump out items as quickly as possible, to be able to get them back to market as possible and make that sweet isk. Let's show you how. Now, at the top of this, there is going to be a help section that shows you where everything is. I'm going to simplify all this for you for the sake of this video. Let's focus on the Ukami superconductors here. The bottom row here, the stuff that's on the bottom of all these cards, is going to pertain to if you gathered the items. So when you look at all these little metrics here, all of this means, did you gather the entire chain leading up to this? The top bar is going to be if you bought the items, specifically if you bought them within 1 step. There's some nuance there. We're going to talk about it. Let's start with the bottom row because it's way easier to understand. On the bottom row, all we really have to look at are 2 things. And the first one is right here. What is our profit compared to selling just the P0 inputs? If I start with all these P0s that are behind my big head here, and I go and I make Ukami superconductors, we will have made 125,000 ISK profit per unit of Ukami superconductor. Comparatively, if I had just gathered the P0s and sold those. This is a massive weight off my shoulders, y'all. As the market fluctuates, I want to be able to know the time I'm spending making bigger, more teched up units is actually worth the time. The second thing you're going to look at on this bottom bar is what is the profit per M3? We actually are going to get 30K per M3, as in hulling, for the Ukami superconductors comparatively to the synthetic oil, which is going to get 13K, and the superconductors, which get a little bit less, 13K. So strictly speaking, if we're looking at the bottom bar, we make more money if we turn these 2 into the Ukami superconductors. Now, I know this is getting a little bit complex, but it's about to get more complex, so get some water, get some black coffee like I do, and buckle in. We're going to show you where the big boys make their isk. The top bar is all about crafting, and the top bar always assumes that you've bought both previous items. So in layman's terms, if I buy synthetic oil, superconductors, and turn them into Ukami superconductors, I will make about 35K isk per item per craft on that 1 step. And my margin on that is about 15% of my profit investment. So if I buy 1 billion isk worth of synthetic oil and superconductors and turn them into Ukami superconductors, I'm going to make about 15%, which is 150 million isk. Quick maths for you. What I just told you holds true to a lot of items on this site. Many of you that have been doing investing in EVE and industry in EVE just saw that and your eyes widened. You can take the items you already have, put them into a box, and tomorrow it's worth 15% more. All you have to do is get it there. If you want to know how I'm able to afford all these giveaways, all the various events we do, and the upcoming capital ship drops, this is how, baby. Oh, it's going to be a good year. Let's keep moving before I get too excited. I'm already kind of hyped up, you know. Now, here's a fun one. The third one from the left says profit compared to just selling the inputs. Now, this is telling you the P0s. The wording's a little bit off. But remember, this is telling you the profit compared to selling the P0 inputs. They both mean that. So you don't want to sell the P0s in this case. You do want to turn them into Ukami superconductors. The final one is the least important one on the crafting, in my opinion. Profit per M3, because the main one you want to look at are these 2 right here. What is my profit percentage? What is my profit per item? This one's kind of mediocre. This one's kind of, you know, you don't really need those. And let me simplify all of this for you. Do you see green? Then gathering the entire chain and turning it into Ukami is profitable. Do you see green on the top? Then buying these 2 and turning them into Ukami superconductors is profitable as well. Let's show you something a little bit different that's on this screen right here. You can see synthetic oil is not profitable to buy these and turn them into synthetic oil. We're actually going to lose 2% of our ISK if I buy electrolytes, buy oxygen, and turn them into synthetic oil. So I will not be doing that. However, if I want to buy my plasmoids and water and turn them into superconductors. I'm gonna make a margin of about 5%.
So Loru, if the margin is better on the Okami superconductors, why don't you just talk about that? Why are we talking about the lesser ones?
Because plasmoids and water cost more to buy. Maybe you don't have a billion ISK, maybe you have only 10 million ISK. Would you like to make 5% profit or just putting your stuff in a box? That's what I'm offering you. You can use this tool to make profit with whatever you would like at scale, depending how much you have in the bank. It literally is a scalable ISK printer, y'all. So yes, I just proved that me crafting Okami superconductors is profitable. What if you have an item you've been making and all of a sudden the markets crash? I think smart fab units. Recently it went down, so let me just look at this. So you can see the smart fab units are actually less profitable comparatively to just selling their P0 inputs by quite a bit. So if you're currently, as of this video, making smart fab units from gathering, you want to go back in the chain and see where the leak is and plug it. Let me show you how. We can see construction blocks are green. So if you're gathering, you do want to make construction blocks. You can also see the construction blocks are green from the crafting. So you should make construction blocks, big check. We can see that smart fab units are red, and red, not good. So we're not making smart fab units, just ignore this back part entirely. You can see that miniature electronics is red on the crafting and red on the gathering. Again, the P0 inputs. So we're not gonna make miniature electronics, not good. Let's keep this moving to the left here. We are making construction blocks, so we can just ignore the rest of this because we know that this is profitable. Look at chiral structures. We're still red on both sides, so we're not gonna make chiral structures. And here I'm gonna erase all of my production so you can actually see the left part of the screen here. And let's focus on silicon for just a sec. We can see it's not profitable to buy felsic magma and then turn it into silicon. We're not gonna be buying any felsic magma, but it is green across the board to craft and gather felsic magma. Basically what all this says is you should not be making smart fab units. You should be making construction blocks. You should not be making miniature electronics, not be making chiral structures. You should be gathering non-CS crystals and making finally silicon. So these three are the winners on this chain for what you should be gathering and making, selling, what have you. Really what I've just done is I've given you a tool that updates in real time to be able to know what is profitable and how to find cracks in the market. Did you know that non-CS crystals are really good to gather right now? P0s are extremely easy to make because they can just keep getting pumped out. You don't have to plug them into another crafting planet. You save on customs, all that. So as we said, can you make a bunch of PI by just crafting and not gathering? Of course you can. You have to use the website we just showed you, find the cracks in the market, and keep it going. Now, if you're hauling P0s, those get heavy super fast. And if the torrent isn't enough for you, you can check out our avalanche hauling video that's right here for you. We go in depth how to use a freighter, haul big ticket items like P0s. Our next PI video is going to cover P4s. Yes, the final boss of PIs, finally here. You can sub for that right here to get all the free value. Thanks very much, y'all. I'm really looking forward to how much ISK this is going to make you. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks again.